good morning, good morning. This is Monday, and this is Morning Pep. I love Monday mornings because I get a chance to uh, start over. I love the word reset, right? Or continue or to build on what I did from last week. However, mornings are so precious because it is so important. It's to me, it's one of the most precious times of the day, and I get to reflect and try to get into the right mindset so I can accomplish the tasks that's necessary for me to accomplish my goals. So, with that said, one of my favorite authors or persons I like to listen to, and I have throughout the years, but I always good repetition, right? Repetition is the best way of learning and teaching, so you can absorb information because it depends on where you are in your life. So today's topic I pulled from something I was listening to from Brian Tracy. And what I gather from that, so today's topic is, can you like yourself to success? And can you be successful if you don't like yourself? So I thought that was very interesting. So I was listening to one of his clips, and he was speaking about thinking. Let me make sure. It says you become what you think about. So how does that affect us? How does that affect us liking ourselves? Well, it's really, again, that conversation that we have with ourselves. You see, when we like ourselves, then we are going to do what's necessary to reach our goals. And how we like ourselves is really our perception on what we think about. So important. So I did take some notes of that. So one of the things that, and there's layers, it's layers of likeness, right? There's certain things we might just like about ourselves. Like, for example, someone like their eyes, I mean, they may not like the rest of their body, but they focus on their eyes. So they like their eyes. But there's other things that they need to work on. Or some people may not like to hear the sound of their voice, but they may like another aspect of their life, right? So there's layers of likeness. And we're not talking about conceit or arrogance, because to me that's a negative form of liking, if or it's a perception of maybe you like yourself if you're arrogant or conceited. We're not talking about that. I look at that as being kind of negative. That's my opinion. But the type of likeness we're talking about is your thinking. And it was a point that he brought about, he made, he said about your thinking. He says, you are what you think. Let me see if I can find that. So it's, you are what you think about, or who you think you are. That's who you are. And how do we change the perception? What do we need to tell ourselves so we can be successful? So some of the sentences that you may have to tell yourself is that I can do it. I can do it. Even when you feel that you can't, you have to tell yourself that. Now, you also have to tell yourself, I like me. I like me some me. Even when you may not believe it. And we go through those different stages, especially when we're growing up, we teenagers can be awkward and we may not like ourselves. Maybe there's images that we see. Maybe it's what the public tell us, right? Saying that we don't measure up or we're never enough. However, if we don't resolve those issues in our head, it would be hard for us to stick with what we need to in order to be successful. You have to have a measure of self-esteem. Your self-esteem determines how successful that you can be. And it's hard to withstand those challenges when you have a low opinion of yourself. Because when you like yourself, you are not going to be hypersensitive to what other people think or their criticism. You're going to have to be able to withstand that. There are certain criticisms or feedback that's necessary for, right, for growth. But if you have such a fragile opinion of yourselves, then you may not be able to take that criticism. And so to be able to make the adjustments that one need in order to uh, improve. But on the other hand, if you don't have a great self esteem, then you have to be able to, you won't be able to discern that is this a positive criticism or people just trying to tear me down and stop me. So when you have a high measure of self-esteem, it helps you to have that balance to know, is this good for me or if it's not. Another thing about having a good self-esteem is that how do you handle failure? A lot of people don't even get started because they have a fear of failure. And they say a lot of this could be learned when we was children, right? Because our parents are trying to protect us, so we might hear, "Stop, don't do that, don't do that." If we're not careful, we start having a culture of things that we can't do. So we have to have a balance, right? There's certain things for our protection, yes, but to be able to want to try a new challenge, whether we fail or not, should not stop us. If we like ourselves, then we want to empower ourselves and we enjoy this the new experience and trying. So I look at my little nephew that's a year old. He wakes up every morning like, what can I get into? And I see all of us around him have to make sure that we don't stop that zeal for life that he has. However, we do have to, guide him so he won't hurt himself, but we don't also want to take that, right, uh, that zest for life. We want him to be able to accomplish many goals. And also for us who are getting older, we don't want to stop that zeal for life, right? We want to continue to wake up every morning and have a new opportunity to try something. So that's some of the things that I got from that. And then he also says that liking ourselves has a lot to do with what is our tolerance for financial comfort, right? Sometimes people don't think that they deserve to make a certain amount of money, or they cannot see themselves with a certain amount of success, maybe because they feel deep down that they're not worth it. So we definitely want to identify those limited beliefs and then resolve it. How do we resolve it? It's the information that we feed, it's the association that we are around. If we don't think we deserve that type of success, then we're not going to get it. Or once we get it, we may subconsciously do things sub to sabotage that, right? Also, how liking yourself can affect your comfort zone. You see, it's funny when we like ourselves, we don't want to stay in a comfort zone. Now, that may seem weird. So, for example, right? So, I've been trying to avoid a lot of sugar because I find that sugar is very inflammatory and it was starting to cause me to feel stiff, along with some other things. So, I had to make the needed changes. Well, yesterday I was so tempted because there was some Oreo cookies in my presence, and I love Oreo cookies. Secret, right? So I'm like, well, two cookies won't hurt. It would have been comfortable to eat those two cookies right then and there. But if I would have went for the immediate comfort, I probably would have dealt with some discomfort later. But because I didn't give in to that, I was able to wake up without any joint pain. So we have to be comfortable with not being comfortable for the greater good. It's the same thing with working out, getting up early in the morning. That may not necessarily be immediately comfort, but when we like ourselves, we say, you know what, Roz, you you're going to take care of yourself. So one of the things that I have gathered in my life is that I have these conversations with myself, and I do like myself. Then always had to grow into that. I had to believe it. I had to tell myself until, like I said, lie to yourself until you believe it. That's what I did, and now I do. So it's a lot of things that I've accomplished. Just how just being able to apply really good spiritual qualities have really helped me to embrace myself, and also to more I like myself, it's easier to like other people, right? So some of the things that we need to do to be successful is like ourselves enough to always want to do better and feel that we and welcome doing better. However, we don't also when we like ourselves, we still hold ourselves accountable, right? So we say, well, you know what, Roz, you could have done a little better. Come on, girl, get up. You wake up. You got your rest in. You went to bed early. It's time to get up and do what you have to do. So liking yourself does not mean you're going to make excuses for yourself. It doesn't mean you're going to necessarily knock yourself down with self-negative talk, but you're able to handle positive feedback. You're able to handle holding yourself accountable because you're trying to be the best that you can be. And when you can be the best that you can be, then you can be the best you can be to your clients, to your customers, to your family, to your friends. And most importantly, you want to have that good spiritual connection with your creator. So anyway, that's what we have for today. Again, I got this concept from Brian Tracy, about your thinking, and from a lot of the points that he brought out is having, liking who you are. That is a big part of success, because if you don't like who you are, you're going to have challenges, and you may slow your growth, and you may have some measure of success, but if you don't like yourself, you can end up sabotaging it, and then finding yourself very discontent with life. All right, so listen, thank you guys for joining us. And it's always good to have a good, positive mindset. And that's why we call it morning pep. And like I said, I'm not going to always say Monday, because sometimes I might have to do it on a Tuesday. But the whole point is getting that right mindset for mornings so we can start off and have a positive day. All right. So, anyway, have a good, successful week. And remember to like yourself.